Afternoon, everyone. How are you doing today? As you know, this one rental at a time YouTube channel is really dedicated to investing, buy and hold, landlording, building a portfolio that leads to financial freedom. That's really the experience I have. That's really what we've been doing the last 20 years. But the question I get more than any other question or comment or message is now a good time to buy my home or buy my house? I get a lot of questions from all over the world, really, about, hey, is now a good time to buy a house? I hear what's going on in the media. My market's on fire, bidding wars. What should I do? Double dip recession, all of these different things. And two things. First, when most people ask me, is now a good time to buy my home? Really what they're asking me is, will I lose money if I buy my home? That's really what they're asking. Nobody wants to buy at the top of the market. Nobody wants to have their friend say, hey, look, Joe and Mary bought X, Y, or Z for too much money. Nobody wants to have that feeling. I think that's the wrong bias. That's not what I want you to be thinking about if you're going to follow this channel. What I want you to think about and what I try to message back to you is, what are the chances you could lose your home? It's a very big difference, right? Are you going to lose money in your home? Well, that depends on the market, interest rates, economy. And oh, by the way, I truly believe if your time horizon is long enough, and by long enough, certainly a decade, at least in most cases, any dip will come back. But when I talk to you or you ask me, what I'm really trying to dig into in your situation is, hey, if you do buy it, what's going on in your world? What are the chances are that you might lose your home? That's a very big difference. So think about it this way. First, if you were going to ask me today, the first thing I'd want to know is, how secure is your job? Right? Do you, I don't know, work for Amazon and not going anywhere? Or do you work for a hotel and you're going to be out of work next month? Right? Very different job security. Even if you're in a very secure position, just to continue the Amazon example, right? Are you in a really secure part of Amazon, or are you in some far off next generation thing that could get cut if the economy turned, right? So the first question I want you to ask is, how secure is your job? If your job is not all that secure, I don't think it's a very good idea to even put down 3.5%, 5%, 10%, because that money could be at risk if the housing market turned, and it turned when you lost your job. The second thing I would tell you to look at is, how long do you want to live there? Is this your forever home? And by forever home, let's say 15 years or longer. Your kids are starting school, you want to be there until they're in high school, right? Are you planning to be there 15 years? Now, obviously plans change, but hey, you're going to sign a mortgage. Do you plan to be there 15 years or not? Again, if you're going to be there 15 years and you are secure in your position, does any up or down year or month or blip really matter? You have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Who cares? Who cares what the value is? You don't spend that, you don't live on it. So that's one thing. The one thing I will say that's unique about the environment that we currently exist in, and you've probably heard me talk about it many times, there are a couple of high-rise urban areas that I frankly wouldn't touch today. First and foremost, one up the road from me, just north about an hour, is San Francisco. I think prices in San Francisco, even for houses, are going to be going down. There is a short-term blip where supply is so low that demand is outpacing it. I don't know that I would touch San Francisco for a new home, even if it was my forever home for 15 or 20 years. I think San Francisco is in for a decade of pain. I think New York, very similar. But these very high-rise urban areas are few and far between. So most of you will be talking about suburbs around those areas, but I wanted to make that point pretty clear. Another thing I would like you to think about is if you're moving from renting to owning, which is awesome, I congratulate you. I believe home ownership is a key to family and legacy wealth. What would your mortgage payment be compared to rent? There are many people today that are seeing their mortgage payments be significantly less than rent. And I think that's a good thing. For example, if you were renting the standard 2-bedroom, 1-bath house in San Francisco at $4,200, and now you're looking to buy a house where your mortgage payments, taxes, insurance are $2,800, that's a net positive of $1,400. Now, yes, you take on risk for fixing stuff at your home, but you also take on the joy of making it a home. You can paint it your colors. You can change this or that. So there is a lot of upside there. The other one I would tell you to think about today that is very unique to this environment is your employer one of the many talking about work from home? Have they gone as far as some to say you can work from home forever? Or are they saying, hey, let's work from home for until the summer of next year? Some of you are looking at homes out of state. Some of you are looking at homes hours and hours away. Again, I would at least ask you to think about what happens if your employer changes their mind. What happens? Do you suddenly have a second home or a vacation home? Are you caught between a rock and a hard place because you can't afford the home and work, but now work is so far away? What are you doing? These are things that you need to consider today. But in the end, I believe homeownership is good. There are a couple of very small but very vertical urban environments that are probably untouchable for me, at least today. I don't know those markets. They just feel risky today. But for the most part, if you're going to be in your home forever, you are secure financially, you're secure in your job, you are paying more in rent than you would on a mortgage payment, I think you go for it. And again, this all boils down to just tweaking the lens. Most people reach out to me and say, is now a good time to buy? And again, what they are saying is, am I going to lose money? Am I going to lose money? That's really what you're asking. And I want you to instead think about, is there a chance I could lose my home? I saw that happen to too many families in 08, 09, and 10. I wish that on no one. They were over leveraged. They had the wrong finance. They really weren't qualified. And then when the recession got them, they couldn't pay and they were out 6 to 9 months later. It's truly a tragedy when somebody loses their home. So that's what I think. I'm now going to reference people to this video. I think homeownership is good. I think locking in 30-year money below 3% is wonderful. I think there are a few markets that are untouchable, but most of the country, assuming your job is secure, you're going to be there 15 years, there's really no wrong answer. All right, everybody, take care.